I don't usually share personal things online, but after everything I've been through, maybe someone out there needs to hear this. Maybe it'll help someone make the right choice before it's too late. My name's Jordan, and for 10 years, I thought I had the perfect family. A beautiful wife, 2 amazing kids, and a nice house in the suburbs. We weren't rich, but we were happy, or so I believed. Then came her parents' 40th anniversary dinner. I had no idea the night would change my entire life. It was a formal family event. Her parents were classy, old-school people, the kind who thought appearances were everything. My wife, Claire, insisted I wear a suit and bring an expensive bottle of wine. I agreed, no arguments. I was raised to be respectful. But the moment we got there, something was off. Claire's smile was fake. Her tone was sharp. She barely introduced me to her extended family, and when I tried to help in the kitchen, she snapped at me in front of everyone, "Just sit down and don't embarrass yourself like last time." People laughed. Her uncle actually raised his glass and joked, "At least he listens, huh?" I stood there stunned. I had done nothing wrong, nothing. Just tried to help. But she humiliated me like I was a child, like I didn't even belong in my own family. I let it go. For the kids. For peace. But that night, I slept on the couch, by choice. And in that silence, something inside me shifted. The next morning, Claire acted like nothing happened. She brought me coffee like usual, kissed my cheek, and asked if I could take the kids to soccer practice. No apology. No acknowledgement. Nothing. That's when I realized, this wasn't new to her. This was routine. She had gotten used to putting me down, and I had gotten used to swallowing it. But something in me had cracked the night before. I started paying attention to things I'd been blind to before. Like how Claire controlled every conversation in front of others. How she rolled her eyes when I spoke. How she made major decisions, school, finances, even vacations, without even asking my opinion. She wasn't my partner anymore. I was just a placeholder. A prop in her image of the perfect family. Still, I didn't want to believe it was malicious, not yet. I wanted to fix things. I suggested marriage counseling. She laughed. "You want to go to therapy because I embarrassed you at dinner? Grow up, Jordan." That was her response. I stayed quiet again. But behind the silence, I started preparing. I began documenting everything. Conversations, text messages, decisions she made without me, times she belittled me in front of the kids. I wasn't planning to use it, not yet. But I knew I needed to protect myself. What I didn't expect, was the day I found the folder on her computer labeled Freedom Plan. And that's when things took a sharp turn. That it was a Tuesday afternoon. Claire had left her laptop open while she took a call on the patio. Normally, I wouldn't snoop. I still respected her privacy, even after everything. But then I saw the folder on the desktop, Freedom Plan. The name alone gave me a pit in my stomach. Curiosity, or maybe survival instinct, took over. I clicked. Inside were dozens of documents. Word files, PDFs, even a spreadsheet. At first glance, it looked like a financial planner's checklist, until I opened the first document. Timeline, file for separation, January, move funds into personal account, transfer full custody request, sell house within 6 months, only in my name, retain elite divorce attorney, see attached. She'd been planning to leave me. No. Worse. She was planning to erase me from our lives like I was a temporary phase. She'd even labeled one section, "What Jordan doesn't need to know." And in that section, bank accounts I didn't recognize. Credit cards I never used. Emails with realtors. And a letter to her parents, painting me as emotionally unstable and unfit for custody. She was preparing to take the kids. The house. Everything. And then act like I deserved it. My hands were shaking, but I knew better than to confront her. If she knew I'd seen this, she'd move faster. I needed time. A plan. So I copied the entire folder onto a flash drive I kept hidden in the garage. That night, I sat across from her at dinner, pretending everything was normal, while in my head, I was already drafting my legal defense. But the real bombshell hadn't even dropped yet. Because 2 days later, I learned something that changed the whole game. 2 days later, I got a call from my buddy Chris, a family lawyer I hadn't spoken to in over a year. He sounded cautious. "Hey man. I got a strange referral request this morning. Thought you should know. Someone named Claire L. emailed asking if I'd represent her in a custody case. She didn't mention you by name, but..." I connected the dots. My heart dropped. She was already reaching out to attorneys behind my back. And not just any attorney, she was trying to lock down all the best ones in town, including people I personally knew, just to keep me from having solid representation. That was a classic move. A dirty legal tactic, conflict them out before I ever had a chance. This wasn't just about leaving me. Claire was trying to win. Strategically. Coldly. Like a corporate war. That was the moment I knew, this wasn't a marriage anymore. This was a battle for survival. And I had kids to protect. So I called Chris back. "Thanks for the heads up. I need your help, but not to fight. I want to prepare quietly, smart. For the kids." He agreed, but warned me, "Start documenting everything. Keep calm. Don't provoke anything. And whatever you do, don't leave the house." So I didn't. I played the role. Smiled. Did dishes. Took the kids to school. Claire thought she was 3 moves ahead, but I had just quietly stepped into the game. What she didn't know was that I had the flash drive. What I didn't know was that she was about to try and make me look like a monster in front of her whole family, again. Only this time. I was ready that it was her sister's birthday, another family gathering. This time, Claire insisted we host it at our house. Said it would show stability. I played along, smiled, cleaned the place top to bottom. She even thanked me, in that fake, patronizing tone. "See? You're useful when you try." Her whole family came, parents, siblings, cousins. The usual crowd. And just like the anniversary dinner, Claire slipped right back into her performance. She played the perfect wife, then twisted every conversation to mock me without saying my name. Well, some people just aren't cut out for real responsibility. Not everyone has ambition, you know. When you do everything yourself, you stop expecting help. People chuckled. Even her mother nodded along. At one point, I caught her whispering to her father. His eyes flicked toward me, cold and full of judgment. And then, during dinner, she made her move. She stood, holding her wine glass like a trophy, and said, "I just want to thank everyone for being here. Family means everything. Especially when you're the one holding it together, even when others fall short." Everyone looked at me. She just publicly declared that I was the problem, the burden. I stood up slowly, raised my glass too, and said quietly, "You're right. Family does mean everything. That's why I've decided to fight for mine, properly." The room went dead silent. Claire blinked, confused. She tried to laugh it off, but my eyes didn't move. I walked out of the room, went to my office, and emailed the flash drive contents to my lawyer. The war had officially begun. And Claire? She had no idea how much she'd just lost. Claire didn't say much that night. She barely looked at me after the guests left. But I could feel the tension in the air, sharp and sour, like a thunderstorm waiting to break. She knew something had changed, but she didn't know what. The next morning, I served her papers. I filed for divorce. Full custody. Retention of the house. And I had receipts, everything from the flash drive, her plan to manipulate custody secret accounts, her documented efforts to paint me unstable, and most importantly, emails to her lawyer showing she was strategizing to cut me out before any problems were ever officially raised. My attorney filed everything first, which meant my narrative became the foundation of the court case. Claire was served while dropping the kids off at school. She called me immediately. "Are you kidding me? You filed? You're trying to take the kids from me?" I stayed calm. Cold, even. "You were going to do it first. I just didn't let you." She went quiet. For the first time in years. Claire had nothing to say. The weeks that followed were chaos. She tried to play the victim, crying to friends, family, her social media followers. But the evidence was too solid. Her freedom plan leaked into court, and suddenly, her carefully constructed image crumbled. The judge saw it for what it was: manipulation, deceit, and a premeditated attempt to destroy me while keeping the house and the children. But I wasn't done yet. Because in the courtroom, Claire made one last desperate move that backfired spectacularly. By the time we got to court, Claire was no longer playing polite. She came in with a high-powered attorney, full makeup, designer suit, like she was stepping onto a stage. She was ready for war, or so she thought. Her legal team's strategy: paint me as unstable, a passive father, emotionally distant. They even tried to bring up a moment from 2 years ago when I took a week off alone after my father died, claiming it showed I withdrew from the family. But I didn't flinch. Because my lawyer stood up and calmly introduced the judge to a little USB drive, the flash drive. We submitted the entire Freedom Plan folder into evidence. The courtroom went quiet as the judge scrolled through Claire's own words: retain elite lawyer, smeared Jordan as inattentive. Play the emotional toll angle, create instability narrative. Don't let him touch the house. Ever. The judge looked up. "Ms. Linton, did you write these documents?" Claire's lips parted, but no words came out. She glanced at her lawyer. He was already turning red. "Your Honor." Yes or no?" "Yes." That was it. That was the moment the case flipped. All her lies, all her performances, all her smug confidence, shattered by her own hand. Her credibility was gone. The judge reprimanded her for premeditated manipulation and strategic alienation tactics. And then came the words I'll never forget: temporary full custody granted to Mr. Linton until further review. And the house shall remain in his possession until permanent arrangements are made. Claire gasped. Her lawyer whispered something, probably damage control, but she didn't hear him. She just stared at me, eyes wide, face pale. The same woman who humiliated me in front of her family, had just lost everything she tried to take. The walk out of that courtroom was the most surreal moment of my life. I wasn't celebrating, not outwardly. I wasn't gloating. I just held my kids' hands and walked out the front door with my head high, while Claire sat frozen behind the courtroom glass, still processing the fact that she lost. I didn't destroy her. She destroyed herself. I just made sure the truth had a voice. That night, the house was quiet. The kids were upstairs, already asleep. I sat at the kitchen table and stared at the divorce paperwork, not out of regret, but out of clarity. 10 years. That's how long I had tried to keep peace. How long I'd swallowed humiliation. How long I played the role of the good husband, while being cut out of my own life. And now, it was over. Not the pain. That would take time. But the pretending. The imbalance. The slow erosion of self-worth. Claire tried everything: manipulation, public shame, even legal ambush, to erase me. But in the end, it was her own arrogance that brought her down. Weeks later, the court finalized shared custody, but primary residence was awarded to me. The judge noted the consistent, stable parenting I provided during the legal process. Claire moved into a smaller apartment near her sister. Her social media went dark. Her family stopped looking at me like I was the villain. Funny how fast their loyalty crumbled when the truth came out. And now, every morning, I wake up in the house she thought she'd take from me, with my children safe, happy, and laughing downstairs. This isn't revenge. It's restoration. She shamed me in front of her family. Now, I'm the one with the family still standing. It's been a few months now. Life isn't perfect, but it's peaceful. And honestly, I hadn't felt peace in a long time. The kids adjusted faster than I expected. They still see their mom on weekends, but the dynamic has changed. They're happier. Calmer. There's no more tension between rooms. No walking on eggshells. Claire tried to reconnect. She sent long texts, not apologies, just explanations. Excuses. I was under pressure. I didn't feel appreciated. I thought you'd just let me have the house because you never really cared. But I didn't respond. Not because I hate her, I don't. But because I'm done giving her power over me. I forgave her in my own way, quietly. Not for her, but for myself. Her family. Some tried to reach out too. Her dad even came by once, stiff and awkward. He brought a gift for the kids, didn't stay long. Before he left, he said, "You were right to fight." I didn't see it before. I do now. That meant something. Maybe it was too late for Claire to fix the damage, but at least someone noticed the truth. I started seeing a therapist. Not because I'm broken, but because I want to stay whole, for myself and for my children. I never want to lose sight of who I am again. People think betrayal is loud. Dramatic. Explosive. But sometimes, it's subtle. A smile with poison behind it. A joke in public that cuts too deep. A plan made in secret. The kind of betrayal that makes you question your worth. But I don't question mine anymore. I stood up. I fought smart. And I protected what mattered. Now I live with my kids in a home full of peace, not silence. And if anyone asks how I got here, I'll tell them, she shamed me in front of her family. So I took back everything she tried to erase, and built something better. A year has passed. The divorce is finalized. The dust has settled. The house feels different now, not haunted by what happened, but refreshed by what's possible. I turned the old guest room into an art room for my daughter. Built a mini home gym in the garage. Even learned how to cook properly, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. The kids love my weekend pancakes. It's our new tradition. Claire still sees them every other weekend. Our communication is civil, but distant. She no longer tries to play the victim. I think even she knows that chapter is closed. Sometimes I wonder if she regrets what she did. Maybe. But I don't wait for her to say it. I don't need it anymore. What I needed was clarity. Strength. Freedom. And I got all of it, not by yelling, not by breaking down, but by choosing the quiet path of truth and patience. Her biggest mistake wasn't just trying to humiliate me. It was thinking I wouldn't fight for what I loved. That I'd fold. That I'd accept being erased. But I didn't fold. I rose. Now, every time I see my kids smiling in our living room, every time I wake up without knots in my stomach, I remember, she tried to shame me in front of her family. But I stood tall, and I walked away with mine. About 6 months after the court ruling, something unexpected happened. Claire's parents invited me, and only me, to a quiet dinner. No fanfare. No crowd. Just them, a home-cooked meal, and an odd sense of remorse. At first, I was suspicious. But curiosity got the better of me. When I arrived, her mother opened the door with a soft smile. Her father nodded silently, avoiding eye contact. The same man who once chuckled when Claire humiliated me now couldn't even meet my gaze. Dinner was quiet at first. Awkward small talk. The sound of forks and glasses filled the silence. Then her mom put her utensils down and said softly, "We owe you an apology." I froze. She continued. "We believed what Claire told us. We saw the version she wanted us to see, and we were wrong. You didn't deserve the way she spoke to you. Or what she tried to do. Especially not as the father of our grandchildren." Her father nodded. "You've kept the kids stable. They're doing better now than ever. We've seen it." I didn't know what to say. For years, I'd been made the outsider. The accessory. The weak one. Now, sitting across from the same people who once backed her unconditionally, I was finally being seen for who I really was, a father who never gave up, a husband who tried, and a man who refused to be broken. I didn't respond with bitterness. Just honesty. I never wanted to fight. I just wanted peace. For the kids. For all of us. Her mother wiped a tear and whispered, "You gave them that. Thank you." When I left that night, something inside me settled. Not revenge. Not pride. Just closure. For all the nights I was shamed, mocked, dismissed, that one dinner rewrote the ending. They finally saw me. Not as their daughter's husband. But as the father who stayed standing when everything else fell apart. A year and a half later, I can finally breathe. Not because everything's perfect, life never is, but because I'm finally living it on my terms. No more pretending. No more silent resentment. No more being the background character in my own story. The house, once a battlefield of tension, is now a sanctuary. Mornings start with laughter and messy cereal bowls. Afternoons are filled with soccer practice and homework at the kitchen table. Nights end with movies and sleepy hugs. My daughter asked me the other day, "Dad, are you happy now?" And I didn't hesitate. "Yeah. I really am." She smiled like she knew that already. Claire still plays a role in their lives, and I encourage that, not for her, but for the kids. They deserve love from both parents, even if it comes from different homes. I never tell them what really happened. Someday, they'll be old enough to understand, if they ask. For now, they just know their dad shows up, listens, and keeps promises. That's enough. I didn't write this story for sympathy. I wrote it because too many people, men and women, stay silent when they're being slowly erased in their own relationships. Humiliated, controlled, belittled, until they forget their worth. If that's you, don't wait to be rescued. Document. Prepare. Stay calm. And when the time comes, stand your ground. You don't have to scream to win. Sometimes, the quiet ones walk away with everything. Just like I did.